let's get in then. Samir Shah, MD, NCDEX, and he joins us exclusively to talk about all of these matters and why the exchange really had to do something like that. Samir, I really appreciate you joining us. First of all, why did the exchange had to take such extreme steps, and weren't there enough checks and balances in place?
Thanks for giving me the opportunity, Manisha. Basically, this contract, as this commodity, as you know, has been under the watch of the exchange almost for the last year and a half, including the regulator as well. This time last year, there was a severe regulatory action that was taken and by the exchange to impose margins going right up to 100%. There were unprecedented deliveries on the exchange in order to drive the spot and futures convergence and to bring the market to an orderly fashion. Subsequently, again, in 3 months back in November of 2015, we had imposed 5% additional margins on both sides. So this contract has been under watch. This commodity has been under watch for a while. In the last few days, we saw that the situation had gone to another extreme where we felt that the risk of a significant compromise of market equilibrium and market integrity was very imminent. And it left us, and we examined all the options of what could be done to restore potentially market integrity and market equilibrium, and none of those options were found to be appropriate. Each commodity, each situation is very unique, given the situations that we see, given the parameters that we see, and in this case, it left us no choice but to suspend futures trading of all the contracts right from February till May in the castor seed commodity.
Samir, wouldn't you say that it perhaps hasn't been handled well by the exchange, and why were the huge positions allowed in the first place?
It's not a question of huge positions being allowed by the exchange in the first place, because the exchange has very strong client limits and member-wise position limits, which the exchange monitors extremely strictly. What we saw, from 11th of January, which was the period when the staggered delivery period for the Jan contract started, was a significant amount of rollover from the Jan contract to the February contract, and that resulted in the last few days an extreme concentration of positions in the February contract. That, coupled with a significant environment where more than 20% price drop had happened, and on top of that, even within the concentration of the February contract, we saw that the concentration was in the hands of a few members and a few clients, and that scenario sort of developed over the last few days. That in the last 2 days, additionally, some members expressed their inability to meet mark-to-market obligations. So all that put together, we felt that this was, if we had let the situation go on for a little more time and examine other alternatives, it would have significantly impacted market integrity, market equilibrium, and would have created even more damage to the market as a preventive measure to protect the market from further deterioration of integrity and equilibrium. It left us no choice but to suspend these contracts. But the exchange does have a very strong process of monitoring position limits and client limits, and we shall now obviously examine whether any of these have been breached, and we have been sort of looking into this matter for the last few days, and if we find anything in our investigation, obviously the due course of action shall prevail.
Samir, as you mentioned, it has been an inability of just few members that led to such an extreme step. So what step are you taking against these defaulting members then?
So basically, the disciplinary action, we'll be examining the provisions of their inability to meet mark-to-market obligations, and within the provisions of our bylaws, whatever action that we need to take shall be taken with these members and clients.
So, Samir, I also spoke to some of the SEBI officials, and they say this was not their decision. This was solely NCDEX's call to suspend the contract. So is it in the bylaws of NCDEX or the exchange to take such an extreme step?
Yes. So this was a decision taken by the exchange. and the bylaws of the exchange give the powers to the exchange to take such actions if the environment and the situation so warrants. Obviously, the situation has to be serious enough for it to warrant such a step and such an action, and we felt that the situation had reached a stage where if we had not taken such action, then a significant amount of market integrity would have been compromised.
All right, Samir, we'll let you go at that. So an extreme step really coming in from the exchange. Remember, SEBI did not take this call. It was NCDEX's call to suspend the contract. And as Samir also said that they would take some time, take some steps against the defaulting members as well, and then see if the contract can actually be revived. But with that, back to you, Kamya.
Thanks very much, Samir Shah, for getting us those details and asking those important questions. Well, with that, let's quickly slip into a short break at this point of time, but we have lots lined up on the other side. We get you some trading ideas as well as some important stories that you should be keeping a track of.